In the quiet corridor of history, Thomas Jefferson's words echo louder today than ever before. His warning seems to reverberate through the very fabric of the nation he helped create, and its resonance is impossible to ignore. As you watch this video, ask yourself, what if Jefferson's prescient words, penned centuries ago, were not a mere theory, but a chilling prophecy? What if the foundations of our republic are shuddering under its own weight of greed and corruption? In this video, we'll take you on a journey through time and through the words of one of America's founding fathers. We'll explore the parallels between the past and present and uncover how Jefferson's warning, once dismissed as a cautionary tale, has become an eerie reality. Thomas Jefferson was an American polymath, founding father, and the third president of the United States. His life was marked by exceptional achievements and contributions to shaping American democracy. Born in Shadwell, Virginia, Jefferson came from a prominent Virginia family. He received a quality education, studying law and the classics at the College of William and Mary. His intellectual curiosity and love for books would become defining traits throughout his life. Jefferson entered the political arena as a member of the Virginia House of Burgesses, where he gained recognition for his eloquent writing, particularly in the Summary View of the Rights of British America. This document laid out the colonists' grievances with British rule. Perhaps his most renowned achievement was his authorship of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. This document articulated the principles of liberty and equality that continue to define the United States. Jefferson served as the governor of Virginia during a critical phase of the American Revolution. His tenure was marked by both successes and challenges as he navigated the war's impact on his state. His ideals greatly influenced the formation of the American government. He was a key proponent of religious freedom, the separation of church and state, and the Bill of Rights. His authorship of the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom laid the foundation for the First Amendment. When he became president in 1801, Jefferson's most significant accomplishment was the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which doubled the size of the United States and expanded its western frontier. Thomas Jefferson's legacy is deeply intertwined with American ideals of liberty, democracy, and individual rights. He's remembered for his philosophical contributions to the nation, his dedication to public service, and his impact on the early development of the United States. After the Revolutionary War, Jefferson quickly found an enemy that went by the name of Alexander Hamilton. When Jefferson served as Secretary of State under President Washington, Alexander Hamilton was the Treasury Secretary. Because Washington was good friends with both Hamilton and Jefferson, he had hoped that the three would become quite the dream team. But the opposite occurred. Both Hamilton and Jefferson saw themselves as Washington's closest advisor, which sparked a fierce rivalry. Jefferson and Hamilton would often butt heads and constantly disagreed on almost all issues. It even came to the point that Jefferson called Hamilton a traitor to his country, a highly unwarranted statement. The two founding fathers had very different visions for America. Hamilton was from the Caribbean, and in 1772, he moved to New York City. The large city turned Hamilton into a proponent of urban commerce. He saw America's cities and their merchant economies as the economic engine that would drive progress. He believed a strong central government was necessary for the country's survival. Jefferson, on the other hand, was a farm boy. In his eyes, Hamilton was advocating a return to European-style monarchy, the style of government they just fought a war over to get away from. Jefferson's perspective favored a decentralized government, which he believed would allow for more personal liberty. Both men thought that they could sway Washington toward their own vision, but throughout the following decade, Hamilton's ideas won. After the War for Independence, the United States faced a series of challenges in the 1780s. These challenges included widespread economic turmoil, rebuilding the commerce industry, repaying wartime debts, stabilizing the currency's value, and curbing inflation. Alexander Hamilton, who served as the first Secretary of the Treasury following the adoption of the new Constitution, had ambitious solutions in mind for these issues. One of his proposals was the creation of a national bank, which he presented to Congress in a report in December of 1790. Hamilton's plan was heavily influenced by the Charter of the Bank of England. His argument centered on the idea that an American version of this institution could serve multiple purposes, including issuing paper money, also known as banknotes or currency, safeguarding public funds, providing banking services for commercial transactions, and acting as the government's financial agent, which involved collecting tax revenues and managing government debts. However, not everyone supported Hamilton's plan. Thomas Jefferson, for instance, expressed concerns that a national bank might establish a financial monopoly that could undermine state banks. He worried that it might adopt policies favoring financiers and merchants, who were often creditors at the expense of plantation owners and family farmers, who tended to be debtors. Additionally, Jefferson's vision for the United States emphasized an agrarian society rather than one based on banking, commerce, and industry. He contended that the Constitution did not grant the government the authority to create corporations, including a national bank. Despite these differing opinions, Hamilton's proposal underwent extensive debate and eventually passed both the House and the Senate. President Washington signed it into law in February 1791. Despite his imperfections, Thomas Jefferson's extraordinary talents and contributions deserve recognition in today's world. As our third president, the author of the Declaration of Independence, and the founder of the University of Virginia, he excelled not only in politics, but also as a historian, philosopher, archaeologist, architect, and inventor. Jefferson's insights into money and banking are particularly relevant. He once remarked in a letter that paper is poverty. It is only the illusion of money, not money itself. This statement remains highly pertinent, especially considering the substantial erosion of purchasing power in today's Federal Reserve notes, which have lost over 95% of their value since the Federal Reserve's inception. As Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve continue to inject trillions of new paper currency into our economy, the richest nation in history faces the looming threat of hyperinflation and the subsequent impoverishment of its citizens. Jefferson, along with other founding fathers, understood the dangers of paper currency all too well, having witnessed the devastating hyperinflation of the continental dollar during the Revolutionary War. This is why the Coinage Act of 1792 emphasized gold and silver as currency rather than paper. Jefferson and the founding fathers understood that for money to be reliable, it had to possess qualities like objectivity, tangibility, and intrinsic value, qualities not found in paper money that relies solely on the full faith and credit of a government led by fallible individuals. Jefferson had an innate understanding of a fundamental principle in free market economics. In a competitive open market, people naturally opt for superior products, such as quality food, machinery, or tools, over inferior ones, pushing the latter out of the market. The primary reason we have an inferior currency today is due to political factors. Government regulations restrict our freedom to choose what we consider as money. Jefferson explicitly stated, "I now deny the federal government's power of making paper money or anything else a legal tender." The consequences of laws forcing us to accept mere paper as money have been and will continue to be quite detrimental. In anticipation of the Federal Reserve System, Thomas Jefferson held the belief that the incorporation of a bank and the powers it assumed through legislation were not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. He argued that these powers were not among the explicitly enumerated powers, making a central bank, in his view, unconstitutional. Jefferson also cautioned against the dangers of banking establishments, stating that he genuinely believed they posed a greater threat than standing armies. He saw the practice of spending money that future generations would have to repay, known as funding, as a large-scale swindle of the future. Today, we witness bankers amassing wealth and politicians gaining more influence through the financial strain on our nation. Uncle Sam has been heavily reliant on the Federal Reserve and a handful of too-big-to-fail banks. This dependence arises from the fact that the United States is the world's largest debtor, and without these major banks to sustain the market for its substantial debt, the federal government would find itself in a precarious situation. The wealth of the American people is jeopardized by paper money and big banks. We should have heeded Jefferson's warnings. Fortunately, with each passing day, more and more Americans are waking up to the fact that the government and Federal Reserve's policy are bankrupting this nation, that their lies and corruption will not go unheard. Do you believe that one day the Federal Reserve will be disbanded and that we'll move back towards a world of free markets? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And thanks for watching.